Well, good morning, Mr. Butler. Damien, thank you for taking the time to be with us at the Meaning Project podcast early this morning. Certainly appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I was reviewing your long and storied resume, your CV, Director of Business and Finance, former Assistant XO for Training, Readiness and Mobilization, girls lacrosse coach, and founder of Manifest One Empowerment Group. But the one thing I saw, probably the most important job you have, girl dad.
Love it.
How has being a girl dad prepared you for all of these other things in life?
Um, it keeps me on my toes. It keeps me on my toes. And one of the things now is as my girls are becoming women, or are women, I should say. I mean, I have 20 and 25. I'm trying to make sure I'm doing things to prepare to prepare the professional road ahead. And my wife and I have, worked hard to raise our daughters properly, to give them, as many experiences as they need to develop. But now, what contributions am I making to the work world to make sure they don't have to deal with all the BS that comes with, toxic leadership? What traits do they have? Do they have the resilience to push through and get to what they want and not let anybody get in their way? So a parent, that's a parent's job, whether you have boys or girls. But in the world that we live in, girls grow into women that deal with knucklehead boys that grow into a-hole men, unfortunately.
Beautifully said. I myself, a very similar boat, 20 and 22-year-old. So been a girl dad for over 22 years. Not an easy job. Um, but such a rewarding one. And I'm right there with you, helping them. We've had a lot of conversations about difficult leadership in different job situations, whether it's for my oldest, which is making coffee for a year, slinging lattes. Now more in a professional situation that sometimes those frustrating others are in different environments, and to help them prepare for that and either how to deal with it or how to leave with style and grace, and move on for the next opportunity. So tell me about Manifest One Empowerment Group, because I'm guessing that's where you're doing a lot of your leadership coaching and trying to help people be better leaders.
Yes, that's exactly right. So it's t-shirt I have on. It's an organization I started in my basement with a group of young men. Believe it or not, being a girl dad, I still have a connection with young men. I don't have any sons, but I say quite a bit that I've raised quite a few young men. But it's a group of five young men. They were my godchildren, and we were looking for opportunities to develop leadership opportunities. That was, where are they going to find the chance to lead and be in charge of something? Because you have to develop it early. You know, my focus is developing leaders in non-traditional spaces. It's essentially, when close your eyes and think of a leader, who do you see? It's not me. It's not my daughters. They're typically, we think of leaders, we think of the president of the United States. So that picture, that poster on the wall is what leadership looks like. There's one little, corner, one little picture in the corner that's a little bit different. But we want to change that image to fit everybody. So Manifest One Empowerment Group is an organization for developing young leaders to help them find opportunities to serve others. That's what leadership is all about. Leadership for me is influence and servitude. And the way you influence is how you serve. So those, develop out five river rocks, our core values: faith, family, focus, fidelity, and fortitude. We call the five river rocks, but there are three more: love, joy, and integrity. They don't start with F, so it doesn't flow as well. But if you do, anything you're doing, if you don't love it, it's not going to be good. If you don't find any enjoyment in it, you're not going to do it for long. And if you're not operating integrity, just stop. Don't do it at all. So that's the space that we create opportunities to build leaders, to find and develop other leaders.
That's beautiful and so needed in our world today. Again, I left a variety of positions to start my own private practice because of difficult leadership. And I see that in the work world, in the people I get to work with, especially in my area of industry and manufacturing, a lot of difficult leaderships, and not enough leaders that understand what you just said. Leadership is about service, about helping others grow. Too many people, I believe, are thrust into leadership thinking, well, I just have to boss people around. I just have to tell people what to do. And the louder I do that, the more uh, for some, the more degrading I do that, the more people might listen to me. And it's just such a backwards style of leadership. Talk a little bit about what you're instructing these young people. And I'm genuinely curious where you're finding opportunities for them to experience good leadership.
Well, now my focus is coaching. Girls lacrosse is my happy place. Well, lacrosse is my happy place. I get to play later today, so I'm looking forward to that. And sports is an extension of the classroom. That is where I get to be hands-on. I've been a classroom teacher. I'm now an administrator, so I don't get to interact with kids on a regular basis. So lacrosse, kind of fills that void for me. So we develop our team captains. We're developing our team culture. We're finding opportunities to serve the community, community service. But we have a regular thing where we go. There are many events that come up in the community that, being in the school, we have an opportunity to participate in. But we have another event that we've been doing for the past 3 years. This year will be year 4, where we go to a local cemetery and post American flags on headstones of veterans and first responders. And as a veteran, that's something that I think is worthwhile. And it was presented to me by a student. And we started during COVID when we were doing the whole everybody's on Zoom, and they were like, "Well, we want to get together. Can we go outside and go to the cemetery and do?" So I said, that's a good idea. So I asked the administration. They granted us permission. They let us get on the bus together with masks, and we went out. And the first year we did it, it was just my JROTC class. The next year, I was like, "Yo, this is an opportunity for the lacrosse team too."
Mm-hmm.
So we started that. I've left the JROTC program to become an administrator, but I'm still coaching. They plan their schedule. Well, they tell me to plan the schedule around that weekend. We can't play any tournaments the weekend before Memorial Day. We don't do anything else but go to, the cemetery to do that. This is what we do. Coach, don't put us. This is what we want to do, and that's student led. I presented it one time, and they expect it now. They go, "What weekend are we going to do this?" Oh, let me make sure that's circled on the calendar, and they're ready. The seniors make sure they're underclassmen are ready to go. They understand what they're doing when they get out to the Memorial Park. I said cemetery, but Memorial Park. They know that we've done it this way. This is over here. This is over here. Let's rock and roll. Okay, it's time for lunch. Let's go. So we created a situation where now they lead, and all I do is say go and come back at this time, and then they take care of everything else. So that for me is creating leadership opportunities and opportunities to serve others.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that idea. The service is obvious there, but cultivating in your seniors how to lead in a positive way from that position of, well, senior, all the way through the different classes. That's got to be a very, it sounds like a powerful experience. So you're working in this, again, first of all, you're playing lacrosse today. I'm guessing you're playing inside because if you're way up there in Michigan, I know down here in Indiana it's cold enough. So you're not playing outside today,
Oh
are you?
yeah, I just moved a little bit of stuff out the driveway. Something fell out the sky. I don't know what it was. I just had to pick it up.
Oh, how bad is it up there, man? Because we got a
We
little
got a
bit here.
couple of inches, like I think maybe 3 inches at the
Oh,
most.
this is the time of year where I'm like, man, I need to move somewhere warmer. I love the Midwest most of the year, but not this
Everywhere
week.
is covered in snow. The country is covered in snow.
That's true. You
Somebody
can't get
showed
away
me
from it.
pictures of Clovis, New Mexico. That's the
No.
desert.
I've got a buddy in North Carolina who was posting. He thought he was being funny, saying, "What is? I haven't seen this in years. What is this?" We're like, "That's it. You stay there. Don't come back home."
It's everywhere. Winter is here.
It is here. That's for sure. Yeah, we missed it over the Christmas holiday, but yeah, it's January and it sure is here.
Well, I'm
So
definitely inside. I don't love the game that much to be playing outside right now.
gotcha. Well, good. Good to, yeah. Keep at it, man. I love watching. Going back to your point, the Islanders versus Rangers. I'm a Penguins fan, so I like when the Penguins play either one of those teams and beat them. So, um, where were we going? Manifest One. Tell me about the name, right? When I was first kind of reviewing it, I love the mission. I love what you do there. How did you create Manifest One?
It took some time and some study. I manifest one is, you know, it's a multi-meaning word. Manifest is to make it plain, make it simple to, I'm manifesting my dreams. But it's also, a list, the flight manifest. What's
Mhm.
going on? What are we doing? You write your goals down and you can see what's happening, where we're supposed to be, what we're supposed to be doing. And it, break down the word of man is mankind, I is an individual, and fest is a like-minded group of individuals working towards a particular goal. Like Oktoberfest.
Mhm.
So probably not the best one for kids, but you get up,
I get
everybody's
your
thinking
point,
about
though.
the same thing.
Yeah.
So manifest, and then one is you start with one. Everybody has lofty goals and want to do big things. Start with one goal because lofty goals are great, but you don't have anything. Zero doesn't multiply. One does. So manifest one. One becomes two, two becomes four, four becomes five, six becomes 12. It grows, but you have to start with one. Manifest one. I'm the one that's going to start. I am the person that's finding the like-minded group of individuals to impact our society, mankind, and make things happen. If I only do one thing in life, I've accomplished one thing. But we create a system within Manifest One Empowerment Group so that you can be successful more than once. Anybody can be successful once. It's called luck. But if you can be consistent and do it over and over again, you're now successful. So manifest one. One goal becomes two, becomes more, and your impact in your community grows.
Beautiful. And it sounds to me like you have a ready-made group of people just thirsting for this kind of knowledge, being in the schools, working with young people in lacrosse and coaching and all these other things. Have you been able to take this out in? I love the idea that you're growing young leaders. Have you been able to take this out into the work world to try to impact leaders who are out there today?
I have. So I had the opportunity as an Army officer. One of my favorite jobs and while I was in the Army was teaching. And I got to teach senior ROTC at Eastern Michigan University. And that was, looking back, that's actually how I moved to Michigan, how I became the Detroit transplant. And that was 10 years ago. So I did that job for 3.5 years, and I still have, connection and impact to the young officers that are still serving and some that have gotten out and doing other things. So I've had the opportunity to take the young leaders to young professionals, and I've had opportunities to speak. I do get the opportunity every now and then to speak, and I've gone nationwide, literally coast to coast, Anaheim to Boston, to talk about developing the skills, how to find opportunities, and what to do when you get them. So, and that's also a goal, and that's how we made our connection. We're trying to grow those opportunities, find them, and make them worthwhile. So that's the long term goal. That is my one goal that I'm manifesting, to be able to grow the audience that I get to help develop the skills to take you to the next level, whatever your next level is.
Beautiful. Yeah, I often say that's kind of my goal is to help more people in bigger ways, and that's how we ran into each other's, going through the coaching program to find those people and to be able to speak to them in a way that definitely has an impact. Can we talk a little bit about your five river rocks behind you? I think those are such powerful words.
That was another. I was a Father's Day gift from my wife, so
Mm.
I need to make sure. Oftentimes I get bogged down and get caught up, and I'm out here doing this alone. But she supports me a great deal. So the five of rocks of faith, family, focus, fidelity, and fortitude. Faith is simply believing. You have to believe in something, and I say the first thing you have to believe in is you. Because if you don't believe in you, you can't believe in anything else. I do believe in Christian values. You know, I believe in the power of prayer and, you know, meditation and the connection of of like-minded people who agree with you and can make things happen. But if you don't believe in yourself, you can't believe in God. You can't believe in, you know, the rabbit's foot you carry. You can't believe in that you put your left sock on first and tie your right shoe. If you don't believe that you're going to go out there with those socks and shoes on and make a difference in that game, everything is worthless. So you got to believe in you, and then believe in what you're doing, that is going to make an impact, and that you have, you know, everything it takes to move forward. That when you learn better, you'll do better. So faith is number one. Family, you can't do anything alone. You know, nothing of significance is done on a solo effort. So you have to have the right people. Again, go back to my wife and being able to put these up in my little corner of our home. You know, my wife is a big, you know, supporter of what I do. My children, they shout me out every now and then. They tell their friends that, you know, that, oh, my dad speaks about this, that, and the other. So I get advice on how to market a few things, or, you know, when I'm on TikTok and Instagram, what my reel should look like, what music to use, or what to take down. You know, I go through that whole process. But somebody, you know, your group, your clique, your cronies, you know, the people that are around you, going to make a difference. You know, if you hang around 5 broke people, you're going to be the 6th type of thing. If you hang around 5 successful people, guess who's going to be the next successful person? So family and community is huge. Focus, you got to know what you're doing. Be clear. You know, there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of distractions. You got to be focused. You're not necessarily going through life with blinders on, but you have kind of tunnel vision for a moment and create some discipline to know where we're going. Things are going to come, but stay focused and make sure you're doing what you need to do. Fidelity is, you know, that process, the faithfulness to getting things done. You know, if you don't do the work, nothing's going to happen. You know, you've got to do some things. You've got to cut some things off to, you know, focus on it. So give that fidelity, and that, you know, that goes back to the faithfulness and belief. You're doing the right thing. Do it. And fortitude is the courage.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to be alone. I know we talked about family, right? Family is important, but you got to go alone sometimes. You got to go out here and do what you have to do so they can do what they have to do. So fortitude, you know, the gumption, the courage, and, you know, do it scared. You know, I'm afraid I'm going to fail. Do it anyway. Because if you fail, you know what doesn't work. But you have to have the courage to go out here and achieve your goals, because no one's going to do it for you.
Yeah,
Those are the 5 on the wall.
right.
You know,
There's 3 more.
love, joy, and integrity. But, you know, do it out of love. If you're not operating in integrity, beat it. Get away from it. And if you don't enjoy it, it's not going to last. But those are the values that we hold true as we move forward. That I hold true, because I tell everybody, these are mine. You can take them and incorporate them into your life, but you have to have some values. And Manifest One Empowerment Group, 5 River.
That's beautiful. I love your point about fortitude, right? Go out there and do something, even if you might, don't plan to fail, plan to be successful. But, you know, I have to teach a lot of people, you know, failure can be a good thing. Failure is a good thing when you learn from it, because at least you're doing something. And the only true failure is to keep doing the same thing over and over again and not succeeding in it. So to have that courage, I love that word, gumption, to have that gumption to get out there and do that, that's living, right? That's actually doing something. But I got to tell you, when it comes to family, you made a really good point. 2 of my, maybe the only 2 of my listeners slash viewers are my daughters. And I knew I made it big. I knew I was a big time podcaster when my oldest said, "Dad, there are kids at the university or Purdue University that are listening to you." Now it's only the people in her apartment, but that changed my perspective. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm reaching somebody besides family and friends. So it was a big step.
So my philosophy on that with podcasting, when you post it and I go check it to see how things are going. If I have 2 listens, 2, all I need is 2, I'm successful. 1 is me, because I post it and I'm gonna go listen to it to make sure it sounds like it needs to sound, and I'm, you know, did everything go right? Do I need to take it down, fix it? But if there's another 1, I'm good. Manifest one. All I now
Manifest.
I've been blessed to have a few more than one, but
Right.
all I need is that one. And then when you reach out, you never know who's listening. I have teammates and like, yeah, when's the next podcast coming out?
Hmm.
And I'm like, you listen to my podcast? Well, I created it so you can listen. So it goes back to the belief that you got to do it, get it out there. But one little bit of success, one person, that's all it takes.
I,
Change one life, and a thousand others will be impacted.
I totally agree with you. I think, every once in a while I look at those statistics, not too often when I see them. I know somewhere there's an impact somewhere in the world, and that's a beautiful thing when you work in the realm that you and I do. Now, I will say you are a brave soul to go listen to your own podcast. I can swear I have never in 100 and almost 80 episodes never listened because I don't know. I think we all have that issue of our own voice and face, but that's brave, man.
Well, right now, for the last about 6 months, I'm a one-man show. So
Hmm.
I'm the marketing department, I'm the promo department. So I have to listen to it to find that 30-second to 1 minute nugget to create that preview to put out into the world. So it's I do listen like I said that. Ooh, that's what I sound like. But I'll tell you this about your podcast. I've learned so much about just the alternative medicine and the focus on the attention that it takes, the dedication that you have to going out and learning and you're not doing this just through books. You're going out and actually going through this process and the retreats that you're putting together. You've been through those retreats. So that like listening to the impact that you have with your clientele and what you're doing to learn. Your podcast has kind of made me rethink. Okay, I got to dive a little bit deeper into whatever it is. If it's a drill that I'm doing, I want my team to do. Okay, let me go out here, hit the wall, and see if I. So it's like make sure I have the experience as well, so I know I have a better idea of how it's going to impact those around me. So your podcast is doing great things. So if it's your daughter and her friends, add me to that list.
Thank you, Damien. That's wow. Thank you. I did not expect that. I appreciate that, and I'm glad. What you said makes really connects with me, right? The idea that I don't want to be. I've always believed, right? Never trust a skinny chef, and never trust an unhealthy therapist or somebody who hasn't done their own work, right? And obviously, in leadership and coaching, you've done a lot of work, a storied service career, working in the schools, helping kids. You've obviously had those experiences, but even in the details of, hey, if I'm going to run this drill, I want to make sure I know what I'm doing and can do that. And that's, I mean, that's true servant leadership there.
What it's all about. I mean, I've been I've been the leader that stands at the top and points and yells, and I wasn't effective.
Yeah.
You know, I say all the time that I'm not worried about people liking me, but as a leader, I need people to like me because people are not going to follow, especially children. As a teacher,
Hmm.
they're not gonna learn from you if they don't like you.
Hmm.
They have to connect you somehow, some way. So, getting in and understanding what the failure points are, because as much as we talk about the necessary impact and need for failure, children don't want to fail, especially in front of their friends.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
knowing, okay, when we do this drill, when they step and dodge the ball, they're going to the left, the ball's gonna go to the right. So let me talk to them about this early, so they don't have to go through. We try to lay down some of the points of where they're gonna have a tough time and help them through it. If they know, like I'm a big John Maxwell fan, disciple. I don't know the best word to use, but I read a lot of his stuff and I use his principles. No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. So
Mm.
going through that process, they know you care because they see you doing the work that you asked them to do. One of the leadership lessons I learned very early is never ask someone to do something that you won't do.
Amen. Absolutely. And I think that's some of the greatest. I know, yeah, that's some of the greatest leadership experience and just watching other leaders knowing that they're going to go do the same thing that they're going to ask other people to do. I think for me, some of the greatest leadership experience, some of the greatest psychology experience I've ever had was in coaching young people, coaching young ladies in soccer. They taught me as much about being a good person, being a good dad, being a good leader, as I tried to teach them about soccer. And yeah, it was always fun getting out there on the field with them and running around. They're like, oh wait, coach can do this too. I guess I better quit whining about all these laps we're running.
That's it. Lead by example.
Hmm.
You know, that's the, you know, one of my next focuses of, well, next topics is the first group that you have to lead before you can call yourself a leader. The first group of people you have to lead is me, myself, and I. If you can't lead that group, you'll never lead anybody else.
Let's dive into that a little bit because I think in my experience recently in the past few years, post-COVID with young adults, there seems to be there seems to be a struggle out there in our young people, at least some of the ones that find their way to my office in that self-leadership. I hear a phrase that I still don't understand. It makes me crazy every once in a while. The phrase is, I just can't get myself to do it. And I sit there in my office and I scratch my head and I think, what what does that mean? I can't get myself to do it. If it's important enough, if you're motivated, you can do, I believe. I think I have to believe this as a therapist, right? But I believe you can do anything as long as you try. You might fail, but you got to try. What what are you encountering when it comes to this idea of, you got to lead me, myself, and I first?
Well, I mean, that's where it starts. You have to get up in the morning. You got to show up, and the only way to show up is to get up. But the key there is the failure piece. No one wants to fail. Young people nowadays. So Instagram, and I had this conversation with a good friend of mine who's also into it, is a professional therapist. You know, we don't Instagram and social media, what's called, so not to blame, you know, one particular aspect, but social media has created the highlight reel. We see things in the highlight reel and think it's real. It's not. There are influencers that somebody has decided to give them enough money to get up and do this over and over and over again. We see the one that they like, not the 50 that they didn't like. I've sat in this same spot and recorded videos and deleted them because I studied too much, or I have a thing where I blink all the time. And like if you pause a video at a certain time, my eyes are closed and I'm in the middle of it. And it's just odd to me. And I did a promo video for work and I was just blinking, and I don't like it. It's cringeworthy, but it needs to get done.
Right.
Nobody wants that to be out in the world. No one wants to see, no one wants to be seen as imperfect. So that pressure to be perfect, just, you know what, if I can't do it, if I can't do it right, I'm not going to do it at all. And we have the thing now, if it's not like this, throw the whole thing away. What? Chop that piece off and redo it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like baking bread. If it's not the proper loaf, smash it back together and you still have the same material. You still have the same opportunity. Now you throwing a whole loaf away because it did. No one wants to try. I mean, we have the Yoda quote, something I learned in Army OCS: "Do or do not. There is no try." We
Man
take
after
that to
my own
heart.
heart. I love that one.
Do it. Did you finish it? Then do it again. You didn't try. Do it again. Do it until you get it right. If at first you don't succeed, try again. That mantra has died with social media because I can click on anything and I can show you. I posted a video on TikTok and it got 22 views. Crushed me. Oh, I worked so hard on this video. It got deleted a few times. I was like, so I finally got it and I posted it. 22 views on TikTok. Everything goes viral on TikTok. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put it on Instagram. Tag a few people, see what happens. I don't get a lot of views. 100 views to me, I'm golden. I'm 100 people sat for whatever that little meter is to click that button because they don't ever watch the whole thing, but whatever that 10 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever it takes to make that mark, they did it. I got the view. I think I got 800 views. I hit a home run. I
Yeah.
struck out the first at bat, but went to the next park and hit a home run. You know, baseball analogy, all the parks now are built for home run hitters. They're smaller, so I'm in the new park. So it's all a matter of, if I'd have quit at 22 views, I'd have never got the information out. People reposted it. and they put it on their story, which was kind of cool and quoted. And it was a good time. But we've lost the art of try again.
Mhm.
And everybody is in the highlight reel is it's a bad place. We can do it. You and I, our generation, we're used to it. We lived without, we had to rush home, or we had to. I'm thinking as a teenage boy meeting girls in the mall.
Mhm.
You either had to have a pen or paper to write down her number, or you had to remember it long enough to get home to call her and write it down.
Right.
Now, who do you know your own cell phone number?
Not off the top of my head.
See,
I would have to pause to think.
you have to go get. So we transitioned. We have the skill to we can recall that stuff, but we don't write in cursive anymore. We there's so many things that have changed that have that in my non therapist training have impacted the brain in such a way that we're afraid to go out there and make ourselves look bad because someone is going to say something bad about us. Another leadership trait that I learned that they talked about Jesus. Why wouldn't they talk about you? And the last one is no one above you is criticizing you. Only people at your level or below. So if you're doing something, people see you that are on your level, they don't talk about you because they want to feel like they're up here. Or the ones up here want to bring you down here. The one up here is telling you what to do, not talking bad about you. So don't take advice from people. Excuse me. Don't take criticism from people you wouldn't take advice from.
Oh, beautifully stated. Say that one more time.
Don't take criticism from people you wouldn't take advice from.
That's beautiful.
That's
That is a
that's
good
Aaron
one.
Rodgers, by the way, who's not my favorite player, but
Oh
that
man.
was a
All
gem that
right.
he dropped.
I'm gonna edit that out of there. We're gonna say it was maybe Ben Roethlisberger or Jared Goff or somebody, but yeah, I'm right there with as a Detroit. Yeah. Ooh, boy. Um, wow, there was so much goodness in that statement. The idea, you're right. Back in the old days, we actually had to have a memory and had to write stuff down, and nowadays it just doesn't quite work that way. I am curious. You got to share. You had 800 views, a powerful message. What was the message you shared for those 800 views? What did people get out of that? Do you remember?
It was the first week of lacrosse,
Mm.
and I just get ready with me for week one, and I
Mm.
just kind of highlighted the league. I love this lacrosse league. This is definitely one of my communities. I say on my Lax Box podcast, I'm the official podcast of Michigan Box Lacrosse League, which is just something I say. There's no exchange of funds or anything. I just play in the league and I talk about the league in the podcast. That's
Mm.
it. Great guys that are in the league. We get together, beat up on each other for a little while, and go back about our lives. But it was just showing off the stuff and me being me. I like pizza. I try to eat pizza as much as I can.
Mm.
Good, bad, or indifferent. If you put bread, sauce, and cheese together and tell me it's pizza, I'll taste it. I may not taste it twice, but I'll taste it once.
Right. And I
But
tell you what, I'm a Chicago pizza guy. Love that thick crust, corn bread pizza, that real thick Lou Malnati's, Geno's East. But there's something special about Detroit style pizza too. Now, that New York stuff, get it out of here. That paper thin stuff, can't handle that.
no, see, I grew up on that.
That's what I was wondering.
And it's the water. It's always the water. You can't make New York style pizza anywhere else because the New York City water is what makes the difference. And it's
Okay, now hold on.
scientifically
Tell me
proven.
more. You got it. What?
It's the water. And I wish I had some studies I could throw up here. They've they've taken water from New York City, mixed it, everything the same, a cup of flour, half a cup of yeast, or whatever the recipe is, and the only difference is the water. And
Mm.
that made the difference in the pizza. Everything is the same except for the water.
You know, I will absolutely 1000% believe you and buy into that because just recently, um, I enjoy craft beer every once in a while. And my wife will partner with me, right? We'll go to different new craft breweries and we'll have some little samples or something. And so we've been around Indiana and Michigan and in the Midwest. A few months ago, as you heard on the podcast, I had to go out to Colorado for my training, and she went with me. Like, hey, Colorado is known for some of its craft breweries. Let's try some of these. And no kid, even she said, "Wow, there is something different out here." And I said, and everybody there said, "Well, yeah, it's the water. It's that
It's
mountain
that
water.
300 days of sunshine.
Ooh, yeah, that, oh man. I don't know about you, but I sure miss that right now around here.
There's no sunshine today.
There's no sunshine here. I was up early this morning hoping it would come up. And I know the sun is out there somewhere, but there is a very large layer of clouds blocking it out.
It's winter in Michigan, so all I saw was snow, no neighbors. Everybody will shovel their driveway and their sidewalk, but no two people will be outside at the same time. It's not gonna happen.
Everybody trying to stay warm at different
That's it.
times.
And I call it hibernation. Probably like right before Thanksgiving, everybody disappears, and then late March, everybody starts blooming with the flowers.
Absolutely. Same thing around here in Farmville. I get it. Well, Damien, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you today. Thank you so much for taking the time. If there's, what is the main point? What is one message you want everybody listening to this podcast to take away today?
Get up and do it. Whatever it is, go do it. Don't be afraid to fail. Then don't be afraid to ask for help. That's one of the things that I'm learning. I'm not afraid to look like a rookie
Mhm.
at my age with the gray beard. I'm not afraid to look like I've never done this before. Don't be afraid of people's opinions. Everybody has one, and not all of them count. Get up, do it. Believe in yourself. Get a group of people around you that can help you. Y'all, zero in on what you're trying to do. Do the work, and don't be afraid of it.
That's beautiful. Don't be afraid of failure. Get up and do it. Um, Damien, where can people go and find out more about you and your work and your speaking?
You can find me on Instagram. I have a lot of fun on Instagram. I have a couple of pages. I get teased about it all the time. Pizza Lacks and Leadership is like my personal page where I have all the fun. The Manifest One is the speaking and the organizational page. And I'm trying to create a space for me as Damien L. Butler, all on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I refuse to call it X. I'm a truist. But uh, Damien L. Butler, The Manifest One, and DamienLButler.com. You see what the organization is working with. Podcast, wherever you get your podcast, Laxbox podcast. Tuesdays, Thursdays, leadership sessions on the Manifest One Empowerment Media Network. And I like podcasts. So if I can help and contribute, you'll find me there as well.
Awesome. We were going to include all of that in the show notes for people to find you and to connect. Once again, thank you for your time today. And as importantly, thank you, sir, for your service. Thank you for your service to our country for all those years. Thank you for what you're doing up there in Michigan. And again, thank you for your time today. Take care.
Dr. Dan, I appreciate you and the opportunity to be here. Stay warm. Enjoy that the Midwest culture of craft beer is an awesome thing. So enjoy that and don't work too hard.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Damien. You take care.
You too.